Hello, fellow cycling fans, and welcome to my preview of Giro d'Italia 2025 Stage 15 preview. It is a mountainous stage, but before we dive into its profile, let's do a recap of quite eventful and interesting Stage 14. In the end, won by Kasper Asgren from the breakaway. He was determined to get into the breakaway all day long. In the end, he managed to do that. The break never really got a big lead. I think maximum was around 2 minutes. Alpecin and Team Visma Lisa bike were chasing all day long, but in the end, some 30 kilometers before the finish, there was a big crash in the peloton. A lot of guys were left behind. Team Visma Lisa bike continued to pace both for Koiv and Simon Yates, who was in that group, but in the end, they just didn't have enough strength to reel in the breakaway, and Kasper Asgren wins in a most Kasper Asgren way. Congratulations to him and EF Education. Easy Post, another great win for them. Caden Groves in the end outsprinted Koiv in front of Olar, Oldani, Maestri, G, Pitko, Carapaz, etc. But we need to look at the GC. We can see that Isaac Del Toro was in that front group. However, Juan Ayuso wasn't, so Juan Ayuso loses almost a minute to Simon Yates and Isaac Del Toro. Simon Yates now in second. Carapaz moves into fourth. He was also in the leading group, or rather the main group. Primoz Roglic was left behind. He is now almost 2 minutes and 30 seconds behind Del Toro. G. Caruso were the big winners, but unfortunately Tiberi crashed. He loses 5 positions. Bernal was also behind. Arensman Pitcock moving a couple of positions. McNulty was also behind. And Adam Yates was totally off of the pace. He couldn't get back to the Ayuso and Roglic group, and he loses more time. But there is one name that is gone from the GC, and that is Giulio Ciccone. I think he crashed the most heavily out of all the GC guys. He loses something like 16 minutes. He barely finished the stage. He was with Mats Pedersen and all the other little track guys, so you can see that their team strength is really high. It is really nice to see them. I was full of praise for them yesterday. Unfortunately, they had a bad stage, but still they are doing really great in this year's Giro. Mats Pedersen obviously still leads in the points classifications. Olaf Koiv, he cut his lead a bit, and then in the KOM, of course, Lorenzo Fortunato is dominating. Isaac Del Toro still in white jersey, but Juan Ayuso is wearing it for them, and in the teams, UAE is dominating. So moving on to stage 15 on Sunday, 220 kilometers from Fiume Veneto to Asiago, a small time at the plateau. But before we reach Asiago, we have one of the most iconic climbs in Italy, Monte Grappa, 25.1 kilometers, one of the longest climbs in Europe, at around 5.7%. Not the hardest climb, but it is mighty, cresting out some 90 kilometers before the finish, so it's really hard to see some teams attacking. Ineos also lost Rivera today, so that is a big blow for Egan Bernal. I was expecting maybe Ineos to try and attack here. Then a long descent, almost 30 kilometers before the final climb of the day. It's Dori, 16.6 kilometers at around 5.3%, a much easier climb. We also have Red Bull sprint here at the middle of the climb, so it will be interesting to see will someone sprint for it. But I still think that maybe Breakaway has a nice chance to win tomorrow, and then it is a rolling final 30 kilometers before the finish in Asiago. This is Monte Grappa, the famous climb. You can see how long it is, almost more than 25 kilometers. And this is the final climb, Dori, much shallower, around 5% throughout the climb. There are just one or two steeper kilometers. What about the weather tomorrow in this part of Italy? Well, it will be 13-14 degrees throughout the day, not a lot of sun. It will be overcast, but hopefully no rain. There was a brief moment where it rained heavily on the riders today, but it was just for maybe 20-30 minutes. Wind will be from the southwest. So if you look at the map, we are going to the west, and southwest wind means that it will be headwind throughout the day, but in those high mountains, I don't think that it is that important, just 3 meters per second. So what can we expect on a stage? Who will control it? Well, UAE Team Emirates will probably try to patrol in the first 50-60 kilometers. Who will be allowed to get in a breakaway? Well, I think mostly Astana is going to push really hard with Poles, with Fortunato, maybe even Scaroni. They should probably all try to get in that breakaway. Someone like Roman Bardet should go as well. Peo Bilbao for Bahrain, Luke Plapp, of course, for Jayco Alola, then Nairo Quintana. So basically, all the guys that we saw on the San Pellegrino stage, they should gun for the breakaway. Fortunato, of course, even going for those points atop of Monte Grappa, and then even if he gets to the Dori, then his blue jersey campaign will be going really strong. Will some GC team try to push? Well, I don't really see that happening, unfortunately, tomorrow. I would love to see it, but Ineos, they are kind of banged up. Uh, Bahrain with Tiberi on the back foot. Simon Yates, he is great in those transitional stages. He has an incredible support there with Wout van Aert, with Van Barle, Affini. All those guys are great, but when it comes to high mountains, he just needs to hang on. Tudor with Storer also doesn't really have much opportunity. This climb, however, is really close to Slovenia. We had great fans today. Many of them were next to the road, and I expect them to occupy this mountain as well for Roglic. But Red Bull Bora Hansgrohe also is not looking perfect. Martinez and Pellizzari, can they push the tempo on Monte Grappa? Probably yes, but will it be enough to drop all the UAE guys except for Del Toro and Ayuso? I doubt that. Maika is going strong. McNulty, Yates is hanging around, so it is a mighty task to do it on a stage like this that has such a long climb, but not that hard climb, and it is far from the finish. So I'm leaning more towards the breakaway on this stage. So, moving on to Bookmakers Odds, but before I pick my winner of this stage, please guys don't forget to subscribe to my channel. It helps a lot. Also hit that notification bell so you never miss a preview on my channel. So, who are the favorites? Well, they think that Isaac Del Toro is number one favorite for this stage. I highly disagree. He never even won a stage in a Grand Tour, let alone to be a number one favorite in a stage like this, which favors the breakaway. Then Pello Bilbao, yes, I can see him winning. Tom Pitcock maybe coming into form, but still doesn't look that great. Ciccone, after his crash, will probably try to save it for the third week. Roman Bardet, I can see him in the breakaway, as well as Pauls and Plap, all the guys that I talk about. So who is my pick? Well, it's Vote Pauls. I don't want to make this video any longer. I think Astana goes for him. Him and Fortunato in the breakaway, maybe even Scaroni, they work together, and in the end, Wout Poels wins the stage. So that is all for this preview. Like this video if you enjoy my comments about stages. Have a great day, and I hope to see you tomorrow for a preview of another mountainous stage 16. Have a great day, and bye.